Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is May 12th, 2021, and this is episode 299. Okay. We're going to look at Geiger. This is issue 2 coming from Image. It's the Mad Ghost imprint. It's only $3.99, and the paper stock on here is really, really nice. The pages are nice too. What we have on the outside here is what they call the Glowing Man, who's actually Travis Geiger, who got blasted in an atomic bomb. He survived because he already had some kind of cancer going on with inside himself and had some radiation therapy. So somehow he survived just outside of Las Vegas. Everything else is pretty much gone, but Las Vegas is still intact with certain tribes and sects, depending on which casino you are in at the time. So what we're seeing here is Glowing Man is on top of a hill. He's being attacked by giant ants. And you can see they have these glow pockets as well. This scene doesn't exactly happen, but we do see the Glowing Man take on some ants. All right, let's get right into it and talk about who worked on this book. Creators are Geoff Johns and Gary Frank. Gary Frank did the drawing. The colorist is Brad Anderson. Rob Lay did the letters. The editor is Pat McCollum. And it starts out, we have a flashback to Tariq Geiger as he's been talking to his doctor, and the doctor's talking to him about the cancer and all. It's kind of flashing back and forth a little bit as they look at the x-ray up on the wall, and you see his eye socket as a close-up here. Then we get the opening shot, and we see the Glowing Man, who is Tariq Geiger, by the way. This is 10 years, I believe, in the future. And his pet is a two-headed coyote or a wolf. It's not really said at this time, but he kind of prowls around guarding the entrance to his bomb shelter, which his wife and son had gone into before the blast went off, and they were waiting for it to get clean before they open it up. In the meantime, we've got this couple here that have stolen an item. There's some kind of heart, and I'm not quite sure, but they want to give it to the king in Camelot, which is a casino located in Las Vegas. So they make it back okay. And I believe from the last issue that the Glowing Man might have been chasing them a bit. I can't really recall off the top of my head. They get decontaminized, and then they go into the casino all dressed up. And then we get like this action show going on for the patrons, just talking about how brave the king was when he took on the Glowing Man. Of course, the Glowing Man is regular sized man. He's not this huge thing that they're portraying here. And one of the waitresses here is talking to the bartender, and she's saying that her daughter's almost as old, almost 16, and that means she'll be put to slave work at one of these casinos. And depending on how pretty she is, it might be something as like a brothel style occupation. So she's not happy about that. Then we have our two friends from the motorcycle come in with the bag containing the special heart. They're not to interrupt Hazmat, who they're just going to hand it off to, because he's on a run on the craps table. So the waitress serves him, and she notes that he's got this bag that's got something very, very important in it. And when Hazmat's not looking, he's back at the game. Waitress comes up, drops off his drink, and takes the bag for herself, as the bartender watches her take off with it too. So she's going to make a break for it with her kids because she doesn't want her kids to end up with a bad life. I don't know where she's planning on going. She talks about some kind of safe place up at NORAD, just below Denver there. And so they're planning on stealing a car from the garage and just taking off. But before they can get too far, there's a knock on the door, or not rather a knock. Hazmat rips the door open. He knows that that the waitress has taken the bag, so she hides her kids because she doesn't want them to see. And Hazmat has no time for it. He just goes ahead and stabs her right off the bat, to the horror of the son and daughter who have seen him do this. So the kids are able to get the jump on the two and run out with the bag and make it down to the garage. They put on some hazmat suits, they steal a car and take off. So it's pretty good action throughout. The drawing in this is excellent. This is a recommend. I'm not quite sure where they're going with this, but they've got kind of like a Bentley, and they're ripping through the desert there. Suddenly, their windshield shattered as they have run into a giant ant, and the ants begin to swarm since the car has crashed, and they're getting out. The ants are coming at them and chasing them. And all of a sudden, the two-headed dog comes up and rips one of the ants off one of the kids. And you got Glowing Man showing up. He's not always glowing. Just when he gets, I think it's when he gets angry, he glows, as I recall. And you can see him, he's ripping these ants apart. He's telling the kids they shouldn't be outside. Go home. The bigger ones haven't come out yet, and the kids run right into a scorpion. But the Glowing Man has his walking stick, his atomic walking stick, and he slays the scorpion right in front of him. And he just says, "Before you go, you have any good books on you?" Because he's just out there all alone, waiting for a good time to open up the bomb shelter, make sure his family's okay. So he's kind of a funny guy. You don't really see him too much in this issue. He had a bigger part in the first issue. Meanwhile, back at Camelot, the king is looking at the escape of the two kids. He's got Hazmat here. He says we've sent a group out after him, and we see why the king wants this item in the purple bag, because his face is very scarred, and apparently this can heal him. So he wears a mask most of the times. You don't see this, but in here you can see it like that. Covers up most of those scarring, and looks pretty normal. And he takes a stroll over to the Manhattan, a different casino, to negotiate with this woman right here who runs the Manhattan with her thugs. So it's kind of like a Roaring '20s theme for the Manhattan here. So the next issue's Fallout. It is, it's pretty good. It's good art in it. The story is interesting. I'm going to stick with it. It is a recommend. It will be getting the Indie Comics Good Excavating seal of approval. And they just kind of happen to throw in a classified file, a document, if you will, of Tyreek Geiger. So we get to find out about his disease. We get some close-ups of the X-rays showing the disease spreading. Very Alan Moore-like. I know Geoff Johns is trying to emulate him at times. And just kind of more teases for the following issue. At $3.99, I think this is a very good value, by the way. The next issue comes out on June 9th. And let's take a look to see what else is in this bag. We get Cain and Abel. These are other Image Comics. A Creep Zone, Shieldbug, Dust Motes. This is all in this Cain and Abel book, I believe. Then something called Vinyl. Let's Compare Monsters. Doug Wagner's working on that one. From the Twisted Minds That Brought You Plastic. I'm not sure what book that is. This is coming out next month in June as well. Then Mom in July. Scientist by Day, Super Heroine by night, badass single mom 24/7. And this is written by Emilia Clarke. If you remember, she was in the cast of Game of Thrones. I believe she plays Daenerys. And then just an ad for Image and all the comics they've done over the years. Wonderful comics. He's the gun, she's the bullet, Snipe the slug. Coming in 2021. Peter Tomasi writing that one. And that's also on Mad Ghost. Okay, so, like I said, this one does get the Indie Comics Jones Good Excavating seal of approval, given out only by Indie Comics Jones. As always, thank you for stopping by and listening to this review. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't. Please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu. More comics to come.